Hey guys, we want to say thank you to our sponsor, Cut Shield, for bringing you this episode. Make sure you check them out on the link below and use the promo code for 25% off your order. Used by all 32 NHL teams and players, Cut Shield is the premier protective player clothing designed by players for players. Their innovative cut-resistant clothing has prevented serious injury to numerous players, including over 30 NHL players. Cut Shield gives you the peace of mind to go out and play without worrying about injury. Use our promo code Grove City Hockey, all lowercase and no space, for an additional 25% off your order today.
Now carried it in back into goal.
That was a beautiful passing play right there, Sean.
What a save! Woo! Talk about a move.
Welcome to another exciting edition to Grove City Hockey Presents
Hockey in our neck of the woods, and you, sir, were a very talked about person towards the end.
I'm a fifth-year senior, kind of. Well, it's my sixth year of college. Incredible.
Welcome to GCH Podcast. I'm your host, Ben W. Stock, and with me is Jarris, or Javier, Macias, and Eric Torres. These two guests are from El Paso, Texas, and we're going to be talking about the state of inline hockey right along the Rio Grande in El Paso, Texas. So, boys, how are we doing tonight?
Great, doing great. Thanks for having us tonight. Very excited.
I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Ben, for having us today.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys taking the time out of a busy day, and I wanted to apologize for almost the late start. Trying to keep this 11-week-old baby in check is kicking Dad's butt right now.
Hey, congratulations!
Thank you. So Jarris, why don't you tell us a little bit about El Paso inline hockey, how it kind of got started, what kind of direction you guys are headed, and we'll go from there.
I'm actually one of the most recent players in El Paso inline hockey, right? I'm going to share a little bit of my background for hockey, and then I'm going to let Eric go ahead and mention the El Paso area, because we're actually on the border, right? El Paso and Juarez, Mexico. I grew up playing in Juarez, Mexico, playing street hockey back in 1992, in summer of 1992. So I have around 30 years playing hockey there. And I have 6 years playing at El Paso, right? I mean, I actually moved to the El Paso side of the border. Okay. And I found out about hockey, quickly got immersed into it. Inline ice. My kids are now immersed into hockey, right? I have two kids, a 10-year-old girl and a 14-year-old boy. That I'm trying to push them into the sport, right? And they're really enjoying it. But I'm gonna let Eric talk a little bit about the El Paso part. Before that, I'm just gonna share a little bit of the Juarez side, right? I mean, I guess I'm 43, right? So a lot of people in the 90s, in 92, 93, 94, we all started watching the Mighty Ducks movie, right? Oh, yeah. I think everyone in their 40s can relate to that. So it became a boom of street hockey. We started playing at parking lots. We had no rinks over there, so we used to play with I'm actually going to get this puck really quick so you guys can see it. This is the puck that we started playing with, and I still keep it. See?
Oh, that's
remember this one?
That's awesome. I remember that too. Because I'm 41, and we always took over. There was one park in my town that we took over that had two tennis courts side by side. Nobody played tennis, and we pulled the post out, so it was just one giant surface, and we'd always have the neighborhood crew against another neighborhood crew, and
Right.
it was always so much fun.
Yeah, it was just like we saw some kids skating. We used to go there, talk to them, get their phone numbers. I mean, there was no social media at all, right? So having to coordinate this type of games was almost impossible, right? So yeah, these were the pucks that we used to play with back in the 90s.
Dude,
But
that's amazing. You still have that puck. That's so cool.
I'm sure if we shoot a slap shot with this one, it's gonna shatter into pieces, right? Just like. But Eric is one of the OGs in El Paso, along with other fellas. But I'm gonna let you let Eric go ahead and talk about El Paso inline hockey.
All right, on thanks. Well, man, it's kind of crazy because I was born in El Paso, but I was raised in Juarez. And how I started playing hockey was one of the neighbors one day just brought out rollerblades, and we were kids, I was born in 88. This is probably like 94, 95. And yeah, so we all, the whole block, the neighborhood is full of kids. So we all started, one kid started rollerblading. We all started rollerblading, right? Parents bought skates and everything. And then sure enough, he's right. We see the Mighty Ducks movie. Oh snap. That's what I want to do. And before we knew it, the whole block, the parents bought nets, hockey sticks, just like the movie, right? But anyway, so then that's how I started. And then eventually ended up moving to El Paso, I'm going to say like around 96. And that's when I started playing at the YMCA. And that is where I guess the main roller hockey started there, right? We had at the YMCA at the tennis courts, kind of like the movie. And you play, there. And then eventually I found out about Nations Tobin Recreation Center. That's where the rink is at now. But unfortunately, at the time, because of the time, the time it was there, inline hockey was not big in El Paso. We had an inline rink, but it was a small rink. It was kind of like, I'm going to go with like half of a big rink, of an original rink. But instead of playing 4-on-4, we'd play 3-on-3. That was just the way we played it in the small rink. The person running the league, the rink his name is Dan Guard. And he taught everybody as much as he could, and he's technically the person where I learned inline hockey from. And he fought with the city because they just told me it's a rec center, belongs to the city. He fought with the city about getting an original size rink. Sure enough, he ended up getting it done. The rec center shut down for about a year to build the building and then get the rink in and everything. Everything was good to go. I'm gonna say 98, 2000, 99, 98, 2000, somewhere around there. And the sport just blew up here. I'm talking, we had leagues from, I'm going to say as far down as 8 and under, if not 10, and then 12, 14, 16, 18, 21, and then, adults. And I haven't been in El Paso my whole life because of the military, but the sport here blew up. We had a lot of great players. We had a lot of players that played for Team USA for AAU, the junior Team USAs, the West region, East region, things like that. Yeah. There's about 6 of us. And it became our lives pretty much here in El Paso. And I love more inline than ice technically, so I play ice, but
yeah, I've noticed that a lot of people who play inline tend to go, I like playing ice, but I love playing inline. Yeah. And that's just really the main thing that, you hear from majority of the stories is like, hey, ice is cool, but when you really get into that inline community, it's like you're set for life and you just absolutely love it. Not only because of the community, but that it's a little bit cheaper. It gives you back to the grassroots of things, like I'm sure the rollerblades that you guys first saw when you first started getting into it were those clip-on ones. You know, they're all plastic, rollerblade style.
What was the brand?
clip-ons. Rollerblade. I believe it was rollerblade. Yeah.
Yeah. They clip onto your shoes.
Yeah, and
Dude, I had a Franklin pair that used to make so much noise with the bearings.
yeah,
And I mean, the guys would hear me and they would cover me. I'm like, I gotta get me some rollerblades.
Yeah. So so one year my mom decided to get. There was 4 boys. They decided to get all of us boys inline skates. They were black, purple, and yellow, and with no ankle support whatsoever. I mean, it was like almost like a speed skate type with no support, and the wheels were yellow, you know, and or green or something like that. And I'll never forget, like, out of all of us boys, I was the only one able to skate. Just like when snowboarding first started to come out and be a big thing, we would go to our sledding hill, and I was the first one out of us boys to be able to make it down to the bottom, but then never able to do it again. You know, it's like, this is terrible for me. But with the inline, it always stuck with me. There was a couple of kids that there was one kid that had some like rollerblades, like the plastic that goes up your ankle, halfway up your shin, that you just kind of snapped yourself in.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I had to like, and they were his sisters, so he was always like, because we'd play in his basement, and so it was so much fun. So like, I remember exactly what you're talking about. Yeah, and then of course, you know, when you know, roller hockey was kind of brought together with the Mighty Ducks in D2. So it was really cool to you know, to see that, you know, binging it off the trash can. Yes,
Yes, right?
Just like that. But it was
like a museum in my garage, dude. Like,
hey, Ben, I'm not gonna lie to you, Ben. Javier is the guy to. If you think you're like, well, you know, these things are so old, I don't know if you can even find them anymore. Give Javier like a week, and he will find that stuff.
Yeah.
If you recognize this noise, look this sound.
That's the sound right there.
That's the
You're
sound,
just
right?
clipping everything in.
It unlocks your memory.
Yep. Yeah. Exactly.
Wow.
So that's amazing that you have that. That's so cool.
Look at his background.
I know. I see it. It's so cool.
Look, I'll do like a little pan over. It's a net. I have a net behind it because I'm not gonna be covering any more holes in the wall for my kid. But yeah, I have a bunch of stuff, man. I mean, it's really cool.
Well, but that's the thing about inline, you know, like you accumulate your stuff, and it's just memories that you know, comes back. And you got a pair of white skates back there too, right? Are those the white Nikes?
No, those are white missions. But at one point, I think I had some, and I sold them. I actually sold a lot of stuff during the pandemic. Yeah. People wanted to skate outside and stuff.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh,
yeah. Man. So then, yeah, and then I think my first pair of like not ice hockey, but roller hockey skates were like the Farlands from Canada. You know, literally like the hockey boot itself with a chassis, and I blew through them, and that was when I met Mike Francis. Like you know, because I'm like, okay, hey, I'm using like a coffee can to get the rivets in, and you know, and everything like that to try to keep the base of my foot, you know, from the sole, because I pulled the chassis from the boot, and so it was so funny. And then Franny's like, dude, here, I'm gonna just hook you up. And so I got like a fresh set of skates for like $50, and then we've been pretty much friends ever since. So it's really cool. Yeah. So now tell us. So Eric, tell me, how big is the youth program in El Paso now in today's market? Because, you know, like we were talking about earlier, you know, El Paso is the 22nd largest city in the United States. You know, and I don't think a lot of people know that.
I didn't even know that. That's pretty cool. Out of all the cities in the U.S. That's cool.
Yeah, it's huge, man. You know, and then your sister city is Juarez, right? You know, I think it's what 9 miles away.
I'm gonna
If
say
that.
less than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty. It's crazy when you could be driving down I-10, right, the freeway, and you're near the mountain, and you just look over to the right. Well, if you're traveling east or west, don't matter. But you look over, and there's Juarez. You see all the homes, the parks, the kids out and playing soccer. At the parks. You see how they live. It's if you've never seen it before, it's quite something to see.
It's actually not like the movies, right? Where it has a different filter and everything's like like dark brown and stuff. I mean, it's huge, right? I mean, the population there is I think it's about 3.5 million if I'm not mistaken. But it's a large population.
And I think that was the largest population and I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, because again, I just looked at these stats at 9 p.m. tonight. Was I think it's the Chihuahua state, right? Or is that how you say that? Okay. It's like the largest in that demographic area, too. So which is really cool.
Yeah, Eric plays currently at the Chihuahua state team for inline hockey. They do nationals. I was invited for a couple of nationals as well, from like 2019 through 2023. But inline is huge in Mexico. I mean, there's a lot of growth. There's more growth actually. And in going back to El Paso, just to share a little bit of numbers, we do like a yearly tournament for the kids. The kids do ice and roller. So whenever the ice season is off, it's over, we have all these kids coming over to inline. We have free classes for them on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, a couple of hours for free. I mean, just teaching them how to skate and strategies. I mean, depending on the age group, right? I mean, we have sometimes we have group of 8 to 10, and then 12 to 14 years old, and so Eric handles the older kids. I get the smaller kids, right? The 8 to 10, and sometimes even kids with some kids with autism also started participating, and that's really awesome because when you see them start developing in their skills in hockey and starting to skate and everything, it's really gratifying to see them growing in the game, right? But the city is mostly into baseball, football. I mean, we have a small community here, even though it's a large population. It's one of the biggest cities, but we have a floating population from military, right? There's Fort Bliss in El Paso, so we always have the military families that come in for a couple of years. They play their parents used to play ice hockey or college hockey, and they want to bring their kids into the program, so they start combining them with roller and ice, right? But we always have those kids that come and go.
Cool. So now, Eric, tell me a little bit about inline hockey in Mexico, because we do like to cover a little bit of the international flavor, of hockey as well. We've talked to a couple of guys or pro players that play overseas in the French leagues, in the Spanish leagues, in the Italian leagues. And then even in the UK as well. So tell us a little bit about the Mexican Inline. You said it's pretty big. It's pretty popular in Mexico. And a lot of people might not understand that in the U.S. I know El Paso has, I believe it's 81% of the population is Hispanic. Which is amazing. It's like the largest concentration in the U.S. As well. So just tell us a little bit about that.
So I started how I was born in here, but raised in Juarez, and we eventually came here to El Paso. Once I went to a tournament, I got invited to play in this tournament, and in Mexico. But first one was in Guadalajara by some of the guys that played in Chihuahua, and to be quite honest, I didn't at first. I mean, I knew there was hockey in Mexico because when I was 17, I played for the junior team USA, and we played Mexico. So I was like, okay, so I knew there was an inline. But when I got there, there was a lot more people than I thought. I was like, then I pictured, I was like, oh wow, okay, so there's literally in every state in Mexico, there's at least one or two teams from each state that play. So that was very surprising. And then of course in Mexico City, the most populated city, I think, in whole Mexico, there's a lot, obviously, both ice and inline. So that was a pretty good thing to see. But when it came down to inline, unfortunately, when I first started, where we would go play tournaments, the rinks are concrete. Being here in El Paso, hands down, Ben, I out of all the places all over where I played all over the world, I still strongly I don't say this because it's my home rink, but I believe we have one of the top 3 rinks in the world. Just the sport court, how it is, how neat it is. Like, it's just hands down one of the best rinks I've ever played in. And little side note, we've tried to bring tournaments, Nards tours, things like that, but unfortunately, they know we have a good rink, one of the best ones, but the answer is always nobody wants to go to El Paso. So that's just the unfortunate thing, and I understand, I get it, because it's not California, it's not Dallas, it's not, Florida, it's not. So
but here's another bit of information. You guys are known for being one of the sunniest cities in all of the U.S. It's sunny 309 days of the year. Yeah, it's ridiculous not to go.
Yeah, it's 85% of the year it's sunny here, and when it rains here, it rains like hard, and then it stops after 5 minutes. You're just like, okay, cool. And, if it snows, it's a miracle when we see snow here. The whole place goes to the whole. Excuse me to say, but kind of like if it snows, the whole city goes to shit because nobody knows how to drive in the snow. That's how surprising it is. Like, excuse my language. But yeah, it is a beautiful place. Even though Juarez is right there. But man, the sunsets and the sunrises are probably one of the most prettiest you'll see. But anyways, in Mexico, like I was trying to get at is that there's, like I said, the inline was a lot bigger than what I thought. I knew there was obviously more ice, but there's more inline than what I thought. All the rinks were out of concrete, so I had to buy extra gear. Well, I bought newer gear, and I was just like, okay, well, this is my inline stuff, and then my old stuff will be what I use in the concrete. You fall or whatever, you tear things up. And then the cool thing was that after my first year playing in Mexico, I was invited to play for the men's national team for Mexico, and I was just kind of like, oh, that's cool, gone to Italy twice, gone to Argentina, so it's awesome being a part of that. But what the cool thing was is that as a team, we always talked about we're not ever going to grow or get better playing in concrete. You just can't, plant hand, you're not going to get better. That level you're here playing in concrete will not take you that extra step. It won't happen.
Well, and what most people don't realize that to stop on concrete is completely different than stopping on sport court.
Exactly.
And if you don't have the right wheels, like the outdoor wheels, it's just gonna make it worse. Then going from outdoor wheels and then you jump on a sport court, you're just slipping and sliding.
Your game changes.
It's like you're wearing ice skates and then or you're skating with water. It's insane.
It changes things in the matter of in sport court, you're pivoting, you're cutting, you're moving, and in a concrete, you can't do those things. So that's the one thing. So what's cool is that there's 3 gentlemen from the men's team that got together and they got together and they bought a warehouse They bought a rink. They bought the boards. They bought sport court, and now the place is awesome. It's called Hockey Rinks MX. That'd be something cool if maybe one day you could speak to them. They could tell you how much better it's growing there, because they went from having nothing to literally having leagues as young. Same thing. You have your 10 and unders, 12 and unders, 14s. They have every division now that they're growing. It's really growing in Mexico, and the players are now getting better, and you see it. You see it when we're all going to March finals, internationals in January. Those guys, we had two guys and a goalie go to Africa Cup with Palma.
I literally coached in Namibia for that. So that rink was So that rink was built just after I left. And the hometown rink that I coached at in Achi, they had the smallest rink. It was made out of concrete. You literally took three or four strides. You were from one end to the other. They were reconstructing it to where it was the second largest in all of Africa. And then now they finally have a roof over their heads because it was all outdoors. It was so cool. And they have sport court now. And then, now in Swakopmund, where the Africa Cup was at, is they had two Olympics, or I believe it's Olympic size sheets, sport court and everything like that. And it's crazy.
My understanding is they build it right next to the hotel where everybody stays at. So you're literally walking distance to your game. So
and the cool thing about Swakopmund is that you can literally walk from anywhere and be at the rink. And you're right there by the beach too.
That's
if you ever get a chance to go, I recommend it hands down. It was one of those things where everybody tells you, oh yeah, no, it's Africa, it's not safe. Namibia is one of the safest countries in Africa, by far. And I'll tell you this right now, we were camping at the Angola border. So you're on the Okavango River. So across, you had to the north was Angola. They were in the midst of a civil war. We're camping on the other side. They have refugees that were, at least that's what it looked like to me, was crossing the river. You could hear, the fighting going on, and you're just like, is this are we safe? And nobody batted an eye. It was just
we're good.
Exactly, because the common phrase was, "Well, this is Africa," So
isn't that where the sea and the desert meet? I mean, I've seen some pictures of it where they see there's a huge desert and it falls into the sea. It's just amazing.
Yeah, and then the Skeleton Coast, is all right there. Walvis Bay, to the south of Swakopmund, and they had the 5 clubs. Each club has over 100 members, and I know Swakopmund has the most because it's one of the larger cities. But you got to remember, that country has, when I was there, only had I think 2.5 million, and 1.7 million live in their capital city. So, and then you're talking the size of it was bigger than Texas, Oklahoma, Arizona, and there was 2 other states combined. And I'm just and it's just crazy. And you guys know metric, right? I'm assuming, yeah. You guys know metric conversions and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So
miles and kilometers, we have to, man. I mean, we don't want to get a ticket in Juarez.
right. So and a lot of the kids they were coaching that I was coaching, they had their parents were either working on farms or on hunting ranches and stuff like that. One of the ranches that I was at was 55,000 hectares. and you're the only one on there. Like, and I had never seen what dark is like until they shut the power off, and you're the only light source for miles. And I'm going, okay, there's leopards, lions, cheetahs, and and then you got snakes you got to worry about too. And you're going, okay, I can't see 2 inches in front of me, and I'm like, and I got to get to my bed, which is in another outbuilding. So it was an amazing trip, amazing time.
We actually have so some of the guys that went. Like I said, it was 2 guys and the goalie, right? They went to get on Palma and head over. Oh, sorry. And they were. But we had a talk after that, and I think he was telling us that that's going to be our next goal is next year go to the Africa Cup, and hopefully that comes true, because we also have the World Games next year in Rome. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how that goes, but hopefully.
So you guys are planning on trying to attend the World Skate Games then, huh? In Rome, Italy?
Yeah, that's the plan, with Mexico. So we'll see what happens. I'm a year away, but those were that was the 2 main events that we have for next year is the talk for Africa Cup. Maybe don't quote me on it, but I'm hoping.
If you can go, and you will not regret that experience, man.
That's what they tell me. The guys told me that it was pretty
sick.
Yeah,
it's sick. I love everybody that's over there. I wish it would have ended a little bit differently. I had to come back early due to a cancer situation with an ex. But hey, it's just one of those things where you just kind of like, hey, I gotta step up and take care of this. But had I known how that was going to turn out, I would have stayed and probably never left.
Well, actually, what's his name? Hammond, right? Hammond from
Dave. Yeah, he went there to coach. He went there to coach, and then he hasn't left yet. Same with Sobel. He went there to coach, and because then he left for 2 years, and then came back, and then he's never left. Either. So it's amazing. Like you get there, and it's just one of those things where it's just like you feel at home, man. It's crazy. Everybody's so welcoming, and it's a once in a lifetime opportunity that you hope you don't ever blow that.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll see. Hopefully it happens. But yeah, and then back to what I was saying with Mexico. Thanks to those guys, they have a floor now. They have a rink.
Yeah.
After this, I'll shoot you the link, the Facebook, so you can check it out and you can see what I'm talking about. Because I really think you'd be surprised and impressed what those guys have done to make inline hockey happen in Mexico.
And it starts evolutioning really quick. I mean, they invested into this rink, the steel mat floor, and everything. And now I know that they took a team to Sparta Cup, right? I mean, like an eight and under team, and they won.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Etan was playing in that Sparta Cup too.
Yeah,
so yeah.
But
it was actually pretty cool to see. The first year that these guys, right? They got the rink, they got the kids involved, and they have a lot. The youth program there's a lot. There's definitely a lot more than here in El Paso. Not just inline, but both inline and ice can.
They just had a Farm Tough, right? The Farm Tough guy.
Farm Tough. What's his name? The guy runs
Peter Dale.
Peter Dale.
Peter Dale.
Yep.
He went. He just recently back in.
His Spanish is really good, man. He's like
August, September.
So Peter Dale.
Back in August, he went, or August or September, he went to Mexico to run the clinics there.
And I think he runs out of like Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, he's in Wisconsin. He runs the prospect camps there.
Yeah, out of his own barn, because Wisconsin doesn't really have much going on outside of. I think there's one rink in Madison, which which our MyHa league has they have a team in that MyHa league that we cover, and they just joined this year, so it's starting to really grow.
Yeah, no, and that's what we hope for here in El Paso, right? Javier and I have been talking for quite some time. It's hard, especially here in El Paso, because like he said earlier, the main sports here is football, basketball, and baseball. There is there's a good amount of kids for ice hockey. We have a junior A and double A hockey team here, the El Paso Rhinos. And
they play the North American Hockey League. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
And so the kids, like they're following that, you know what I mean? And when we try to, there are some kids that do come from ice to inline, but they don't view inline the way we view things. And like he said earlier, once ice hockey season's over, they come to inline, but then once the ice starts again, it's like, now they're back over. And
it's like our off season.
Yeah, and it's fine, because I do tell them, if you progress in your inline game, I promise you and I guarantee you that it will help you to your ice game. And
look at some of the pros that are playing in the pros now. You got Connor Bedard, Alex DeBrincat, Adam Ernie with the Edmonton Oilers. Pat Maroon. He's now in Minnesota. Minnesota doesn't really have. That is, and I don't know if you ever get a chance to go to Minnesota for the Let's Play Hockey Expo. Do it, because I've never seen 22,000 fans to watch a high school hockey game, and that's just a quarterfinal. That's not even the finals. They fill that XL Energy Center.
That's why I
love it.
That's why I've always wished, right, when I was a kid, that my dad just took me up north, because I fell in love with hockey ever since I was living in Juarez, But it is what it is. But that's the one thing we hope we're trying to is progress the kids program here in El Paso. I'm not gonna lie to you, it's tough. Because a lot of Javier and I coach the kids for free. We give, I'm going to say 4 to 6 hours a week, 2-hour sessions, with kids and parents, I don't know. They stick with ice hockey. They pay the hundreds of dollars for whatever it is. And,
when you can pay a couple $100 for inline and be good for the entire year, so.
Exactly. And I like to say, it's like, it was done for me. So why would I not give it back and do it for the kids here, to progress the game? And, but unfortunately, we're still hoping, we're still fighting it. We hope that it'll work out eventually. But we just keep pushing. That's all we got to do is keep pushing.
Yeah. And I agree.
Yeah, don't give up. Just one day at a time.
Yeah,
I want to share something too, because the park. This is not a privately owned park, right? This is operated by City Parks and Recreation for the city of El Paso, right? So we always have to go by the city rules, right? So sometimes we clash about having the kids play up a little bit with the adults because of regulations, because of the rules, right? They're minors, etc., right? But we always try to push so that I was just in conversations with Pablo Navarro just recently. We went to Narch finals with Wheel Hub Asia. They opened the teams. So some of the kids participated from El Paso. They ran some clinics. Etan was there. Junior Caddis was there too, holding those clinics as well. They love them, right? So I was let's bring some of the guys over from Pama to El Paso. And as we had that conversation, we had our date set up for November, the second week of November. And our rink was converted into a migrant shelter in September, the second week of September. So we received a call. Eric got a call. I was up in Austin. And Eric called me like, hey, you know what happened? Yep. So this thing happened. So I started in conversations with Pablo about the rink, right? And unfortunately, we lost that clinic, right? That was an opportunity for them. I was like, hey, can we do it in 2024? They're really booked, right? and they even had to pocket out their cancellation of their flights, right? Because they were having Dave Hammond and Pablo coming over to El Paso. We had everything set up. And then we had no idea of when the rink was going to be demobilized again or turned over from being a migrant shelter, right? Because we had this crisis, ongoing crisis. We started running interviews with media, radio, television, everything to try to put pressure to the city to try to get demobilized, right? And turn this facilities, because for me, right, in particular, and I think I share this with everyone. If we don't have our youth invested into education, into culture, into sports, right, then it becomes a crisis to the city, right? It becomes a problem. So I do want to. That's why we always invest into being volunteer coaches, into giving back to the program. Like I mentioned, I mean, I'm one of the newest members into the program, right? But I quickly invested myself right into giving back into the program, to growing the sport, right? Into having as many kids as possible into the sport. So we lost this clinic, so we're trying to get it back, right, as well. And now we just got the rink back this Monday.
Oh wow!
It was a rink, but we put so much pressure on it.
Yeah.
There's box, there's roller derby, there's indoor soccer as well. I mean, there's a lot of sports that are held into that facility, right?
Yeah.
And we're back in action. We're gonna start our adult league in next week by November the 2nd, right?
Okay, cool.
And we wanted to start it on October 31st, but it's Halloween, right? So I mean, we want to make sure we have attendance going on. There's a lot of programs. I mean, we have the Pile of Bones team, which is 40s, 50s, and 60s. Those teams go. They were national champions, right, for years back to back.
Yeah.
And we all lost this practice time at the rink, right? So I mean, it was hitting us, right? I mean, as a city, as a community, that this rink was turned into a migrant shelter. And I mean, we finally got in conversations. Eric is part of the committee of the El Paso Inline Hockey Association that was able to get in conversations with the city Parks and Recreation director. Putting pressure to receive updates, right? When are we going to get the rain back, etc.? And we finally are relaunching our league. This is hockey all year long for inline hockey.
Yeah, and that's and that's what the sport needs. I know in Detroit there was a rink that was part time. They would go. You would get 3 months out of the year.
Is this the Sportplex, the X Sportplex, or no?
Yeah. No, this is Taylor's Sports Complex.
Yeah, that was the Sportsplex. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They finally went full time, which is really cool. And with so many rinks closing here in Michigan alone. I can't remember what Carl said when we did the interview, or maybe it was Mike Farinelli, where we had and there's another one going down in just south of Saginaw in Mount Morris. That one's going down too. There's no inline rinks on the west side of the state now. The only one that is going is in Georgetown, which is in just outside of Allendale, home of Grand Valley State University. They do like one sheet, but again, it's on concrete. There's no sport court. I know Farinelli was working with them, trying to get them a sport court so that they could try to get a year-round facility. The other facility that I was reffing at, that shut down a couple years ago. And then there was another rink that I played pro inline at. That rink officially shut down and converted to ice. And now I hear that ice facility is going through some tough times too. So I mean, it's tough because you just see, the passion for this sport, and there's just no place to play. I think Chicago, they had the same thing. Like you would get 3 months or like one full season in like Palatine now is a full-time rink facility, or has been. But like Homer Glen, just outside of Chicago, that one was, like you get, X amount of months with it, and then they convert it to, football or, any other kind of,
Other sport, indoor sport.
yeah, other sports too. And it's crazy because, you're just like, okay, I just need to find a place where, and you don't want to move because then you're just depleting the area. But at the same time, if you have no choice, you have no choice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the benefit of this rink is that, I mean, it's not privately owned. So in a way, we kind of think it's not going anywhere, right? It's not like, hey, you know what, guys, I'm going out of business, I'm gonna close the rink, etc. Right? Like it has happened throughout the nation, even in California, where I mean, roller hockey is bigger. We see rinks closing down, right? But going back to the El Paso rink, it's so unique because there's no other place in Texas aside from Kyle, Texas, when you go. And big shout out to La Beta Chupacabras that came over to a tournament here in El Paso in the summer. And the closest rink is either in Tucson, 4 hours away from here, or 8 hours in Texas, right? So it's very unique for the West Texas area.
Yeah.
So we are always trying to preserve this rink, always trying to protect it at all costs.
Right. Yeah. Well, and you guys have the passion for it, because it's like, I mean, what else are those kids going to put those energies into? Exactly. Is it going to be negative energy, or is it going to be, an energy that, isn't going to be helpful to the community,
Yeah, they can fight and we can separate them and that's it, right? I mean, hockey's hockey, right?
That's right.
We do it on an adult level. So, I mean,
that's, and like piggybacking with what Javier was saying is that like our rink, it's special because it's a double-edged sword. Mm-hmm. Like he said, it's owned by the city. It ain't going nowhere. It's not running out of business. Our leagues, man, to play hockey here, it's $40, and that's
what?
It's
cheapest hockey in the nation.
$40 per player. And that guarantees you your 10 league games plus playoffs being double elimination. So, and we play every Tuesday and Thursday. You can't beat that. You can't beat that whatsoever. You know what I mean?
What?
But the unfortunate thing is that the bad side of it is that it's not our ring to run. So when there's other events, other sports or these big events that have to overtake, that the city says that they're more important than us, then we have to oblige by what they want, So
or when they rent
it's a double-edged sword, but at the same time, like, where are you gonna find out? Like, I can play a full hockey season for $40.
Dude, that's news to me, because I'm like, what? Like league fees where I was at before they shut down. You were 600 for a whole team, I mean, for a whole team. Sometimes, and then they're like on the east side, it's a little more than that, So it's just like, it's about 100 and almost $200 for.
Well, here for the ice, for ice. When we had a league, so that we don't even have a league right now. I think it was like it guaranteed you 8 games, and then the one playoff game. Only number 1 and 2 are playing for the championship, right? There's only 4 or 5 teams. Yeah, it was crazy, but you're paying for 8 games in that. So not even 10. I'm just gonna say 10, and they're charging $250, $300 per person.
Per person.
Right.
So you're just kind of like, and there's so many adult players, ice players, and I'm like, Jesus, guys, like, you over here complaining about how expensive it is, and not only 15 miles the other way, you can play inline for $40 for the same amount or more.
That's worth it.
Don't do it. They don't do it because they say inline ruins your ice game, and I'm like, that is a negative statement,
that is
proven,
totally inaccurate.
And I hope that stigma goes away, because I can tell you right now, there's so many pro players that started out playing roller, worked their way up, into that into the NHL.
Yeah.
And it was all because they would go from inline to ice, and I don't understand that, because if you really want to get technical about it, your inline experience is helping you with your penalty kill. Simple. I mean, it's simple.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I'm just like, I don't know, like, I just don't get that, the stigma that is associated with that, because to me it doesn't make sense. Puck hockey is hockey. Whether you're playing on, because you still got to use a stick, you still got to use a puck. The puck still weighs the same. It's just a little bit denser with the vulcanized rubber on ice than it is with the inline puck.
All the difference is just, instead of ice, you're not dumping and changing, chasing an inline.
You get more possession. You get more possession with the 4-on-4. And it forces you to move the puck yourself. Instead of relying on somebody else. The no offsides really helps out too. It's just it's one of the when somebody says that, I'm just like, come on.
When I run into the kids at ice, because I still play ice, adult pickup, in the beer league, and you run into the kids, and some of the kids know me there, obviously, because I'm coaching them at roller, and they come and, hey coach, this and that, and I'm like, all right, so when you guys coming back to inline, we're doing this, and then they're just kind of like, and I'm like, come on, man, like, you can't let it go, because they will help you,
It really will.
Yeah,
I think it's about the parents too, Eric. I mean, it starts with the parents' commitment at that age too. And when house league starts, and they just start taking them to ice and stuff. But let me share a little story about this Tuesday, because we lost the rink a couple of weeks ago, about a month ago. We all went to ice, right? I mean, we started playing beer league at ice. We had to keep our workout going on, right? So the kids went to ice. It started raining yesterday. It started raining really bad. It's very rare that it rains here in El Paso too, just as rare as it snows, right? So because of the Sun City, so the ice rink has some leaks, right? So it started having like a hole on the other side of the net. So they made the rink smaller, and we had to play, like, the coaches were like, hey, so what are we gonna do? Are we gonna do 4-on-4? Yeah, let's do 4-on-4. And I have on my team, my kid plays roller, right? And most of the kids they're roller kids, right? So I told them, hey, let's play the square. Yep, and they played so much better hockey than the other team. Like, instead of 5-on-5, 4-on-4, they tore that up. I mean, they lost in shootouts, but they had the most puck control. They just played every puck, like their dangles, their hands were so much better than the ice kids. I'm gonna say it as it is, really. But it's finesse. Roller hockey is finesse.
Yep. I'll tell you what, you put together a team of inline players that can skate on ice, and I'll take those guys over an ice hockey team any day of the week.
Of course. Yeah, I totally agree. Eric and I played last week ice, and it was so much fun because we played against mostly ice guys, and I think it was one of the best skates in the month. I mean, it was really fun, just like passing and passing and passing, saucing. It was just
well, and then so you're used to playing 4-on-4. Now you got that extra attacker, and now you can gameplay it just like you would if you were getting ready for a roller hockey game, where you're down. And now you got that extra attacker, so it's really cool to,
I love it just because, a lot of that, like we said, ice players, they like to talk, like, oh, go back to roller, things like that. Right. But it's, we do a lot of laughs out of jokes, and I love, nothing more makes me like so much happy to just, they know I'm a roller guy. Like, everybody knows I'm a roller guy, but I also go and, have fun at ice. But I just love, I love, just doing very well against them and play
Yeah.
better and score and winning. And it's like, dang, a roller guy just beat you guys at your own game. You know, just talking
Yeah.
smack to each other. It's
Just
all funny.
needling them. Like, come on, man. Let's come over to the dark
it's the
side.
needle in the coffin. It's the needle in the the coffin that you're like,
Yeah.
that's right. Like, so you can't tell me roller is not real hockey because I'm out here. I play mostly roller, and I'm out here.
Well, not only that, but then it's taken you, like you said, around the world. You've been to Argentina, you've been to Italy, and not many kids who play ice can say, "Hey, I've gotten a chance to go over to Italy. I've got a chance to go over to Spain, or I've got a chance to go over to France." Or hell, now Africa,
and not even then. Like, you get to see some of the, like, I enjoy, like, obviously I enjoy watching an NHL game, hands down, obviously, right? Best hockey in the world. But man, when I go and watch pro hockey, inline hockey, fuck man, or even the internationally, you go. I love watching France play. I love watching Italy play.
Oh, France has a killer power play, man.
it's insane.
You can't beat USA. You know what I mean? Travis Noe, Cadiz, all these guys. But when you see the guys internationally, it just kind of, it's wow.
Yeah,
it's crazy. They're just, it's a different game, obviously. Yeah. And I love watching that. And when I'm over there, I'll post stories, whatever. I'll have some of my ice friends like, damn, that's cool, man. I wish I could do that. And I'm like,
you can.
Exactly.
You can. All you have to do is just play in.
Show up to roller guys.
It's simple.
I'm trying to bring you guys over here, and you can be a part of it, And they see me go to Narch. They see me go to tours. They see me go to State Wars. And it's like, damn, I wish we could. Motherfucker, go buy yourself some rollerblades. That's all you need. Like, get on over here and just.
You already have all the other equipment. And then we'll hook you up with some pants. It's just one of those things where it's like, come on, guys. Like, it's not just give it a chance. Give it. I say give it 2 years. Give it 2 years, and if you don't love the sport after 2 years, then then it just wasn't meant to be. But I guarantee you will.
The first time I showed up at Nation Stone Park, man, I showed up with that same puck that I showed you guys in the beginning of the show, shoulder pads, ice pads, and I was ready to throw it down. And I had a Canadian, dude, and everyone's like. My boy Diego makes fun of me because of that. Like, the first time that Javi showed up there at the rink, like, I was just ready to like check and everything because we used to do that in Juarez. Like, we used to check, and it was so different. And now, like, a bunch of guys play now at Nations Totem. I mean, there's a bunch of 35 to 40-year-old guys that play in Juarez too that come over to the league, right? And play the league all year long. Eric handles the draft. We pay the $40. We run the draft. We sign up everyone. We have all the military guys. We run social media as well, and they start asking questions like, "Hey," they start Googling, right? I mean, people that like they play hockey, like, "Hey, I found out about you guys. Okay, just come over, right?" We invited one of the guys from Cal, Texas as well, from La Beta Chupacabras. Like, he was doing some contract work here in the border. Yeah. And we signed him up really quick on the league. I mean, it's pretty awesome, man. I mean, I think the inline community is so much better than, the ice. Ice shows up, plays, and leaves. But, like, we pregame, we have our games, we post-game, we go to dinners. I mean, we throw parties. I mean, it's really awesome. This community is... I really love it. I mean, it's really, really close to each other. Even though we have floating population, there's always the same guys. I mean, after the tournaments, we always hit up at the bar. We go to the wing bar. We have some wings, burgers, etc. It's really awesome. I mean, it's just a big community that wants to keep hockey alive and thriving in El Paso. Yeah, it's just a big community that want to keep it alive.
Yeah, and so we're just about out of time here. But yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. Just like with the MyHot League that we cover, we're covering from from New York all the way to Chicago. We got teams coming in from Canada, from
That's so cool, man.
Wisconsin. Yeah, I mean it's so cool. Like you got all of these international the international flavor guys coming that played for Team Canada. You got some girls that are coming from Team Canada playing too. And then of course you got some of the pros that are playing just before they head back over to Italy, France, or Spain. Or and Germany too. So I mean, it's just like it's just like the community, and everybody just hangs out at the rink together too. And you can once you cross those boards onto the ice, all bets are off. But once you come back out, the respect that you guys have earned from battling each other, it just carries on, and you're like, let's go have a beer, let's go have sit down, break bread. And it's an amazing atmosphere. Everybody's hooting and hollering, having fun, and then you go right back out there to kicking the crap out of each other.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, go back to the game, right?
That's right.
I want to make an announcement. I mean, I think we're going to be hosting a tournament in El Paso from Echo with Bob Boucher from Echo Tournaments. I think that's still going on.
Yeah, actually, hey, Javier, on that, I spoke with the director, called me, and she told me that that he still wants to do it. That
Cool.
It's because we were going to have it this year. I think we were going to have it like the in December, correct, Javier?
Yeah. Well, it was going to be like a week after the Super Bowl.
Okay, or something. Oh, really? Okay, so it was something
February. Yeah, February next year. Okay.
Yeah. And it was just simply that, the whole immigrant stuff that was happening. We never knew when we were going to get the rink back. So we had to cancel, like Javier said, the camp,
everything,
that tournament, a tournament that we hold our own here, like for Texas. But she called me today and she spoke with him, since we got our rink back. She called me today and she told me that, yeah, he still wants to do it. Like, I think it's the last weekend of January. So we're going to have that tournament here from Echo, ECHO, and then as well as been a tournament that we like to call the Battle of the Border next year. So hopefully we'll send that out, and hopefully people would like to come, because I really believe that they will enjoy the rink and the level of play. Like I said, I still strongly
the city, the food, the culture. I mean, overall, it's going to be the biggest experience.
Oh, and Ben, best part of it is, sorry, I know I got
no, it's cool.
The best part of it is that these tournaments, like, how much does it cost to go to Narch or things like that, right? Per team, you're talking what, 4, 5, 6? I don't recall exactly how much, but
it's up there.
It's up there, right? But
a little bit up
is that. Because the rink is at a city building, a tournament like that for us, things like that, it's like $200 per team.
Wow!
So
wow!
Exactly.
You'd be silly not to come down to El Paso to check out this tournament.
I really, I had to deal with the guys from Kyler, Texas as well. From the La Beta Triple Covers, is that they come, we'll go, because they just got a rink. Yep. They just managed to get a rink. And so, and same thing with Dallas, people from Dallas, people from Houston. I have, friends, that play inline around there. And that's what I'm trying to bring that all in. Try to, hopefully it'll happen. So,
well, I'll tell you what, when you guys get an official date, set up, let me know. We'll get you guys back on the pod. We'll talk about that, and we'll get another update, because I don't know about you guys, but I had a blast with this, man.
Yes. I know we went crazy with the little bit of a background, but man, we appreciate you having us on the show, and hopefully we can come back and
sure
pre-tournament and post-tournament, let us know the outcome and everything.
Absolutely, I would love it. I know you guys would love it, and I know that it would actually bring more exposure for you guys because you guys would be like, hey, check out our this podcast that we did, and with Grove City and so we'll make it happen, man, because I've got time and this is the type of stuff that I love to do. So I'm looking forward to it, and and like I said, man, we'll do anything we can to help grow the sport in El Paso, Texas, for you guys.
Thank you. We appreciate that.
So, Ben, don't take our word for it. You need to come to El Paso and play with us, at least to pick a game or two.
So I actually retired in 2015. I had to after I had my back surgery. I couldn't walk. I hurt myself in Major League Roller Hockey in 2000, late 2009, early 2010, and didn't do any.
You're talking about like it's the Major League Roller Hockey. That was
full contact.
Yeah,
only full contact.
Yep.
The only full contact hockey league in the world at that time. And
that's cool.
Yeah, I ended up getting tangled up with my teammate and another guy from the Detroit Revolution that we were rivals with, and I happened to land wrong, and it didn't really shatter, but it messed up my my S1, L5, L4, L3 region. So and then of course being stubborn, being a hockey player, and having I guess I have a really high pain tolerance because after surgery they wheeled me into recovery and I walked out 15 minutes after recovery. They said the doctor went to drop me off and he went to go check on another patient, come back to check on me, and I had already left. And he goes, I'd never had anybody see that. Yeah,
hockey players are a different breed.
Yeah. So, but I did say that if I can find, a team or an event where they're going to host the world's longest roller hockey game, that would be my final game that I'll ever play.
Hey Ben, didn't they just do that somewhere recently?
Yeah, they did. Where was that? Because they did one in Africa right after, like 2 years after I left. And then
no, what's his then
they did another one. Yeah, then they did one with John Shivo, and I want to say and I did an interview. Shivo's interview is actually dropping on Friday.
Cool.
Okay.
So check that out, and then so anytime we can find someone who's willing to want to break the Guinness Book of World Records longest roller hockey game, I still have my gear. I still have my stuff. It may be a couple years outdated because like I said, I haven't skated, I haven't played much since 2015.
I can hook you up with some gear, man.
That would be great. No, my blades I think were still fairly new when I finally had to retire. So I'll just need to get a hold of LaBeta to get some new wheels and
they should play with this type of puck now.
Absolutely.
This needs to be the official puck.
But yeah, so I mean that's something that I've kind of said, hey, you know what? If I'm gonna do this event one more time, that would be it. I mean, it'd take me, a couple months worth of training to get into shape, but I would do it in a heartbeat.
What's the record? Was it like 2 days?
Just over 48. I think it was just over 48 hours or 50 hours or something like that, hands down. And and I want to do it I want to see a 72-hour marathon. I think that would be amazing. Start on Friday.
Potassium.
Yeah. But it's just one of those things where like, hey, if you're gonna go for it, go all out. And I think that would be the only way that I could really justify playing and risking the back like that. So haven't had any major issues since the surgery. I actually have I made a pretty full recovery. But I want to be able to pick up my kids. Both my kids are under the age of 4. So I want to make sure that I'm still around to pick them up while I still can.
Yes, sir, definitely.
Yeah. Well, maybe reffing would be another option, but you definitely need to come into El Paso.
sure.
We'll show you around. We might even take you to Juarez. You get
That would
really
be
good food over there, man.
that would be amazing. I gotta re-update my passport though.
I don't think you have any trouble letting you back in, man.
We drive across all the time, Ben. You only need your ID.
Yeah, man. I don't think you'll have any trouble coming back.
All right. So, well, that's going to do it for this episode of GCH Podcast. I'm your host, Ben W. Stock. I want to thank Eric Torres, Javier, Macias. I appreciate you guys so much for taking the time. This is going to be one of the longest interviews that we've done. There's not going to be a whole lot of editing for me to do. So it's going to be amazing. Again, thanks so much, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you again for having us, Ben. We really enjoy it. Very grateful for having us here.
Yeah, cool.
We appreciate it very much, man. This was definitely fun, and hopefully we can come back at it again and talk some more.
For sure, we're gonna do this again because you guys are flat out amazing. We never even met. We never even talked. I just shot Javi a message on Facebook. I'm like, hey man, you want to jump on this pod real quick? And he's like, I'm free Wednesday. Let's do it. So
Let's do it.
yeah. So, but yes, but that's how inline our community is, man. We love each other because we have such passion for this sport. So yeah. So all right, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, man. Have a good one.
All right.